Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for this warm welcome. Before I start my talk, I have several questions for you to ask. Can you remember the situation when you were a student, and I see the majority of you were recently students or still are, when you were submitting a paper and you liked it so much, but later on you received a very harsh criticism on your idea and your paper overall? Can you please raise your hands if you had this? Okay, approximately 50%. Okay, another situation. Did you ever encounter the situation when you were having a job interview for the first time and recruiter asked you whether you had any prior experience and you were very stressed about this and unhappy because you actually didn't? Few, but I see that majorly we have quite lucky people in this room with me. So all of these two situations bring me to my core idea today, and actually 3 dimensions of it, which I want to illustrate today. First, unequal chances. Second, name calling. And the third, transformational magic. The third, you might think, what is that? Well, I'll come back to it in more detail. So, first one, unequal chances. My students in the class of business communication actually asked me what to answer if the recruiter is asking from 3 to 5 years of prior working experience when they are applying for a job straight after their studies. And as I see, the problem of youth unemployment and career opportunities is a global one. A lot of international organizations such as OECD, ILO, World Bank, as well as regional organizations are annually posting different reports illustrating these situations and tendencies for young people. Actually, from the world global financial crisis in 2008, the situation for young people especially started to be deteriorating in the comparison with the previous generations. So millennials today, in comparison to previous generation X, for example, are earning 20% less on average. So millennials, I'm using this term, basically we consider people who were born starting from 1985 till the late 90s, who in 2010s are basically adults searching for a job or finishing their studies. So to give you another illustrations of this problem, I would give you the example of saving towards the home. So in the time framework from 1985 to 1995, in the countries such as UK and United States, it took approximately 3 years to save up for the home. Starting from 2005, actually, this period of time extended to 13 years. And from 2015, actually, this time span extended up till 22 years. Today in Poland, actually, young people are signing a housing deposit contract approximately for 30 years. On top of this, young people are living in the situation which is unstable due to political, social, and other reasons. Nobel Prize-winning author Joseph Stiglitz wrote in his Great Divide that actually young people today have unequal social start. What does it mean? That they don't have a connections to start their career, or actually first preliminary career, from the managerial positions. Or, to go even further, that not all people, even in the high-income countries, doesn't stand a chance to have a higher education because it's very expensive. On top of this, young people are heavily criticized that they are lazy just because the majority of them started to live with their parents. Also, the statistics shows that predominantly these people are either studying in higher education or having a job. So, and probably for you, this is pretty much familiar. So there are some pejorative terms such as snowflake and unicorn generations, right? Applied to millennials. In the media discourse, millennial generation is the generation which is fun to be hated. Why is that? Actually, I have the experience both in business, but I'm teaching academic and I see something else. But I'll come back to this in a second. So if we refer to academia, so let's go to the definition of snowflake generation. According to Collins Dictionary, this is informal or derogatory noun, defining the generation of people who become adults in the 2010, viewed as being less resilient and more prone to taking offense than previous generations. Okay. Next one from Oxford English Dictionary. An early sensitive or easily offended person, or one who believes they are entitled to special treatment on account of their supposedly unique characteristics. Well, I'm a millennial myself. Judging from this definition, we all should get a depression straight away. Luckily, I can tell you that in reality, from my job, the situation looks differently. I have a classroom full of young people, full of a great potential, the will to achieve, the thirst for great careers, who are really capable of great things. And it really made me sad because as an academic, I'm trying to define where is this discrepancy coming from? Why we have such an offensive narratives and where do they start from? And this thinking actually took me back to the classroom, actually to the moment when I was a student myself. And you know what? Actually, I can remember different kind of lectures. There were ones which were highly criticizing my ideas and the essays. In the harsher cases, one of my supervisors actually declined to, or not declined, he wrote a very negative reference letter for me for a scholarship that really mattered to me. But the story didn't end there. I had other lecturers and teachers who believed in me and motivated in everything what I did. And actually those who smiled and said, you know, you're capable of great things. And out of this humbling experience, I learned two things. One, I'm not particularly talented person, so if I can achieve something, all people can. And the others, just because somebody really believed in me, it made me succeed and to achieve something. So I come to my third point, transformational magic. So what it is. From what was already said by me, it is clear that words and how we say them are very important. They are words that work. And words that work is not my term. This is a term of political consultant, pollster, Dr. Franz Lutz, who is very often referred to as evil doctor. Why? Because he examined the usage of crafted vocabulary and how it can entice our emotions and how it can change our actions. So Lutz was the one who proposed to change the term global warming, to climate change, or oil drilling into energy exploration. Because according to public opinion, it didn't sound so harsh and drastic, so we could manipulate with the solution in this case, whereas it was more mild. Unfortunately, in the situation when political leadership has to take drastic and very rapid steps, we are very eager to use this mechanism. But in the situation when we can use it for a positive chance and positive change, we actually forget about it for some reason. Because sometimes human beings are very artful in discouraging somebody and somebody's potential. Instead of choosing the words more wisely, and saying to somebody, hey, you can achieve, you can entail to great things, and thus witnessing this transformational magic. Again, today is the world of technology. Recently, I published one of my research connected to fantasy movies. And for you, it might be surprising, since I'm teaching in the Department of Management and International Relations, dealing with international organizations a lot, why I was so interested in this term and fantasy movies. The core question is why contemporary people in this revolutionary technological world want to believe in magic, want to believe in magical hero, which often comes from a very humble origin, but all of a sudden becomes destined to greatness and save the world, just because of our everyday life. There is millions of young men and women who want to be destined for greatness and change this world for better. Actually, in my first years of studies, I had quite an extensive group of international students, so I really wanted to push them to participate a lot. And there was this girl who never spoke in my class. So I had this feeling that she really hates my class overall. And one time she approached me very sad and said, would you recommend me to some company, because I had to have an internship and they declined. So I had to recommend actually somebody who never spoke in my class. In that moment, for some reason, I believed her and I took this risk. She was a very hard-working employer, and she was hired straight away after her internship. Moreover, she was taken to one of the renowned world corporations afterwards. We met 2 years after this experience, this encounter in class, and she said, just because you believed in me in that particular moment, I worked so hard because I didn't want to let you down. And it really kept me moving. Here it was, transformational magic in the action. For these moments, I really adore my job, and I can see that the experiences where the middle range performing students advances to the top are most rewarding. Actually, the overall friendly cohesion in the group raises. We have really rapid growth, and the overall performance of this class actually increases rapidly, and you really enjoy the whole process working with such a group. So nowadays, I'm standing here imploring HR officers, recruiters, lecturers, and teachers, and those who can give somebody hope and who can believe in somebody's potential. Empower with words and believe in somebody, because it can start a fire in somebody's heart which will transform their lives and the world around you. Thank you very much.